welcome to yet another edition of the Youth Dialogue. I am your host, Jainaba Sonko. This program is exclusively brought to you by QTV. It's always exciting to be here. The feedback from last week's show was perfect. I, of course, hosted the Youth Inter-Party Committee as well as Bright Star Entertainment. Viewers asked for youth in entertainment, so that is exactly what I delivered. And I'm proud, I should say this again, I am proud of the Youth Inter-Party Committee for advocating for peace in this country. I'm very proud. And I thank God today I have with me the Director of National Youth Council as well as the Chairman. I believe this is something that they can also shed light on, because they said that the National Youth Council, of course, supported in the formation of the Inter-Party Youth Committee, which is very, very vital. Today with me, I have Dembo Kambi, who is the Chairman of the National Youth Council, as well as Lamin Dabo, who is the Executive Director of the National Youth Council. The National Youth Council should have been my first panelist on the show, but I believe due to time constraints, they could not make it here, but thank God they're here today. And then I will say Lamin Dabo today will officially declare Youth Dialogue open, which should have been done a long time ago, but it's all the same. It's all the same, because you should do that. And Lamin, of course, congratulations on your appointment as the Vice Chair of the OIC Youth Forum. Congratulations. There's no doubt that you'll be able to handle this mandate. But before we go any further, I would just like to know how this new position will benefit young people in the Gambia in particular.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here this evening. As you rightly mentioned, to also take my portion of the Youth Dialogue.
Exactly.
You know, it has been a very, very rich, you know, and quite a relevant cake for us, having different young people and different youth organizations coming to have their portion. So having the National Council with me, my chairman, to have our portion of this very, very delicious and very rich cake of Youth Dialogue, I think I'm quite excited to be part of that. But away from that, on your question, I'm recently been elected as the Vice Chair for Africa region at the OIC Youth Forum, which is the Islamic Conference Youth Forum for Dialogue and Cooperation, formally in its recent General Assembly held in Istanbul. The charter defined that we should have a president who actually had the assembly. But under the president, you have 3 vice presidents. Okay. One is for Arab region, one is for the Asian region, one is for the Africa region. Initially, apart from this vice president, you also have board members, and you also have, you have board members. But at the last General Assembly, there were some amendments to the charter, which we supported as Africa region, to have the vice president, have the board member, but also have the finance committee and the membership committees. So the Africa region, we have our delegation, and we are able to agree on our candidates, and we are able to present this candidate to the General Assembly and work with the other regions to ensure that our candidates are elected. Okay. So I was fortunate to be elected as the vice president for the Africa region. The importance and significance for this, for the country, and also for Africa, is that one, I am taking to ICYFDC a very rich grassroots experience of youth work. Having some Pan-African experience working different young people in other countries, I am prepared to share that. But I'm also prepared to learn from what is happening in other parts of the world, in the Asian community and the Arab communities. My role as the Vice President for Africa is responsible of mobilization of the African region to participate in the OIC Youth Forum programs, 1. 2, I am also supposed to serve as the, I will say, the chief policy maker for the ICYFDC Africa region. Okay. I have under me a board member, I also have a finance admin, and also other team members from other OIC member states in Africa. So I am working with them to ensure that the perception, not the opinion, the voices of young people in OIC member states in Africa also read the OIC, the Youth Forum Secretariat, that the ICYFDC, and also, of course, to OIC Secretariat. For the Gambia,
for the Gambia in particular,
we are thinking, there are plans to ensure that in the coming OIC Forum, there is going to be OIC Youth Young Leaders Summit, which, of course, will have Gambians and young people from the region, and even across all member states to also come to the Gambia. So we are definitely working towards to ensure that happens. The second thing is we are also working on projects that could definitely benefit young people with funding from OIC. These are going to be projects in different areas in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of addressing migration, but also in terms of leadership. And these are in line with the OIC Youth Strategy that has recently been validated and also popularized across all the member states of OIC. So we also using this as a platform, and the benefit that our country could have also is to benefit from other numerous opportunities that are offered by OIC. If we are not part of the process, you don't know, it's difficult to participate, to benefit from that. But the fact that now we are there, by 1st of December, the outgoing executive will hand over to the incoming executive. Then there will be some opportunities that we could bring home for young people in Gambia to also apply and be part of those funds.
Okay, I am looking forward to that, and congratulations once again, as I said before. So now, Lamin, this is one point, yes, Dembo, this is one point that is very important to me, and it's very important to young people out there. Because when I came to the conclusion that I'm going to host the National Youth Council, I made sure I spoke to different young people to give me their concerns in relation to the National Youth Council, because I'm not here just to ask questions that come from me, but questions that come from young people out there. So I want us to focus a little bit on the relationship between the National Youth Council and the government. Because if you take a look at it, the government has a youth advisor, and then we have the National Youth Council in place. So I just want to know the relationship. Is the government giving room for the National Youth Council to get problems together and then send to them for them to solve it? Or how does it work? Or is it through the advisor? So I want to make things quite clear here. The National Youth Council, the youth advisor to the president, and the president himself.
Thank you so much, Jainaba, for that wonderful question. I think in answering your question, I think the relationship between government and the National Youth Council is a very cordial one.
Okay.
Because you look at the National Youth Council, it is not an institution that is directly under it's a semi-autonomous institution, agency. And we get our subvention from the government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the National Youth Council Act 2000 also mandated the National Youth Council to advise the government on youth issues through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I think the issue, you talk about the youth advisor to the president and also the president. Anyway, I think we don't have any meetings or any formal, meetings with the president or whatsoever, or with the youth advisor.
Okay.
I think the position of the youth advisor has been a call made by the Gambia National Youth Council at the Basse NACON.
Okay.
That's NACON 2017.
Okay.
When we made this call to the president to appoint us an advisor on youth issues, because we understand the president, they have all passed through the youth cadre, but they might not be au fait with the system of youth work that young people found themselves in. So it would be important for us to get somebody who is a technician in that area, who knows the problem and the issues of young people in this country, to be close to the president and advise him on youth issues.
Okay.
Probably before we get to him, we have to get to the minister, and the minister will have to get to him. So before that happens, but if you have a young person who is inclined with the issues affecting young people, with the needs of young people in this country, the issues of employment, the issues of social and sexual and reproductive health, the issues, a lot of issues. If we have a young person who is au fait with some of those informations, could be close to the president and advise him on some of those issues.
Okay, so.
But unfortunately for us, after from NACON, we came to understand that the president, appointed a youth advisor, and there were a lot of talks around that, and he rescinded that decision.
Controversial issues surrounding.
Few months later, we came to understand again that he has appointed another person who is as old as 70 or 65
Exactly.
years. And what we said as young people, anything for us without us, it is not for us.
I say that all the time, yes.
So for that being the case, we are made to understand that the appointment was based on political grounds, and we have no problem with that. But we as a council will continue to work, will continue to support the agenda of the government to ensure we mobilize youth energy towards the socio-economic development of the country, and we will continue our advisory role through the Ministry of Youth and Sports to ensure young people's issues are captured at the center stage of our development.
Yes, Dembo, then am I right to say that the National Youth Council has no relationship with the youth advisor to the president in relation to you having issues, channeling it through the youth advisor to the president? Is there any channel like that presently as we speak?
As we speak, I've never even met the youth advisor to the president.
Okay.
We haven't met.
Okay.
And I am made to understand that he's an old man.
Okay.
I've never met him in person, and I don't even know him in person.
Okay.
You know, but what I understand is he's an old man, and he's not that much of faith with the issues of young people. It would have been important for him when he was appointed to come to the council and seek for that support, so that we will be always getting in touch with him and try to give him certain information regarding young people.
Okay.
But in the absence of that, we are not going for him. We will never go for him. If he wants, he can come and meet us. We discuss as people who are all geared towards building this nation for the betterment of all of us.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Alamin, we will just come back to you shortly in relation to that, in relation to the president having a youth advisor, because some youth, I talk to them and they tell me, we personally feel like the National Youth Council is put there by an act of parliament. We feel that the National Youth Council should be the voice of young people. There's nothing like, to some young people, there's nothing like a youth advisor to the president. The National Youth Council to these young people should be the advisor, that particular advisor to the president. Some people feel like even if it's the National Youth Council should have a weekly report, a monthly report that is sent to the president for the president to see some of the issues that are happening when it comes to young people. So what is your take on that?
Thank you very much. I am so, when the issue of the appointment of the youth advisor was at its peak, there has been a lot of controversies and a lot of opinions, and I must say that I was approached by some journalists who asked me my take. I would say the president has a prerogative to appoint. National Youth Council also is mandated. It's not an opinion. It's not an opinion. It's a law that we advise government on youth matters. That's what the law says. That one of our functions include advice role to government on youth matters. And we advise government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We also have some, let me say, other direct engagement, other ministries on youth issues based on policy, on their programs, or even on their initiatives. But direct policy advice we provide to Ministry of Youth and Sports, because we are sitting in the senior management of Ministry of Youth and Sports, where the minister sit and the permanent secretary sit, where we bring the concerns of young people, where we also report on progress and actions of young people across the country for onward transmission to cabinet, but also to the entire government. Okay. So I would say that we are still carrying out this function.
Perfect.
We are doing that. We are sitting in the senior management. We are engaging the ministry. We are corresponding. We are sharing. We are representing the ministry in some functions. So we have a very, very good and cordial relationship with the minister and the ministry that is representing the government.
Yeah. Dembo, I'm so happy you said anything for the youth. Without the youth is not for youth. That is one thing that I stole from the National Youth Council. I always use that on the youth dialogue. It's even the slogan that I use on my posters, and the list goes on. And I'm happy that you came up with that. Yes, still on the relationship between government and the National Youth Council. I am still on that because I am aware that the government has requested for 1,000 youth to be taken to Saudi Arabia for some sort of walk, because the last time I was listening to Hot FM and Ahmad Ba was talking about something that has to do with young people walking in hotels, and the list goes on. He said it's just a request for now. They're still looking into it, and then they will protect the rights of young people, and the list goes on. I just want to be sure if this development was announced, or the process of this development, was the National Youth Council involved in this request. I just want to be sure here, because I have young people asking me all the time outside. So I'm like, okay, when I bring these people, we'll clear all this. We want to be sure if you have a take on this in relation to the request.
Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, we did not get, I personally, as the chairperson of the council,
okay.
You know, I'm not always at the office. It's the executive director who is the head of management who is always at the office. Okay. But it has never been put to my attention that we have received a formal communication from the Ministry of Tourism, you know, regarding that memorandum of understanding or that contract with the Saudi Arabian government.
Yes, the request.
And that's why I personally just don't want to talk about it, because we are not involved. Okay. They are not talking to us about it. They are only saying it as they want it. So we are not involved. Okay. But one thing I can assure you is that as the National Youth Council of this country, we will continue to engage all agencies and government, and we will continue to advise. If that contract is out to exploit our children, our young people, we will obviously give our take through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, because that's where we give direct policy advice to. We will advise them on the issues of that. And we did not only even stop at that, because sometimes, you know, what some young people feel we should go on social media, challenge or say things, you know, that's not the way. Yeah. But when some of those issues are out, we have a line ministry that we work with. You go through that ministry and seek for clarification of such programs. You know, and we have done that. The executive director have engaged the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport concerning this issue, to have a discussion with the minister responsible who is signing or who went to sign this agreement, to have a discussion on the matter. Because what we want is the young people of this country are very, very important. Exactly. And the National Youth Council will not sit to see to read that our young people are exploited, our young people are taken to other countries to suffer.
So what is the outcome, or the meeting is yet to happen? What is the outcome of that particular
meeting? I don't know what our minister and the Minister of Tourism discussed. Okay. But I know that's where we can engage our minister, so that he will talk to his colleague minister for them to have an understanding, an agreement on this matter. Okay. Because Ministry of Youth and Sports is the line ministry responsible for young people of this country. Exactly. So anything that any other minister is doing for those young people, at least that ministry should have been informed. So that's why it is important. We, some of us as officials or as duty bearers at the ministry or at the National Youth Council, cannot go on social media, cannot go on rampage at social media to say this is not done, this is not accepted, this is accepted.
Till you have clear sources and the list goes on.
We are going to do our internal findings until at a point that we find tangible, you know, reasons or tangible issues. We might say no today, and
it turns out good.
It turns out to be something good. Okay. We might say yes. It turns out to exploit our children, to put our young people into problems.
So am I right to say the National Youth Council is waiting for the right time to act?
No, it's not like waiting for the right time to act. But what we are doing is we are engaging the authorities. Okay. And that's why I said our line ministry is the Ministry of Youth and Sport. And we have engaged our minister on this issue. So that he will also talk to the colleague minister who is talking about this agreement, so that they will understand that even if that agreement has to hold, it will be in the best interest of the young people that are going through this I don't know, agreement or
request. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Yes, Lamin, on the same issue with Dembo concerning this 1,000 youth, the request that has been made, because I'm aware it's a request, and they're still on the process. So I just want to know the stance of the National Youth Council, the body responsible for young people of this country. I just want to know your stance in relation to that so far, because I listened to Honorable Ahmad Bass interview the last time on Hot FM, and he was talking about young people working in hotels, and the list goes on. And we all know what happens in Saudi Arabia when it comes to black people. So I just want to know your stance as the National Youth Council.
All right, thank you very much. I must say again, when this matter was announced, there has been different reactions. You know, I have my personal opinion, but I work for an agency. So my reactions must be informed with facts and also with substance. Unfortunately, when this was assigned, I was not in country, I was at the ICYF forum. When I returned, as my chairman rightly mentioned, we engaged government to establish the facts. And we have realized that contrary to some of the claims that, okay, it has already been signed,
no, it's yeah, like we have to make that quite clear. Exactly. Viewers,
it's not been signed.
Yet it's a request.
That clarity
has to be made.
First we had seek, and we got clarity that there has not been any agreement signed between the Gambia government and Saudi government to take our young people to Saudi Arabia. No agreement has been signed. That's first clarity we got.
Okay.
Second clarity we got is it was after some sign of some tourism related contracts, then the Honorable Minister, we were told that had made this request. So if we make this request out of goodwill, possibly the way it is reported must not have been well received. So if people reacted positively or negatively, will be the feedback to the way it has been reported. And based on what we've already seen, means that possibly it has not been well reported.
Okay.
And as a result, there has been a lot of negative reactions. But we, based on our experience, working with other young people, especially girls and young women who had been one-time trafficked, who had ever been to those countries, Asian countries or in the Arab region, and even in all over the world, even in the European countries, people we have interacted with, based on our experience, we advise government against such a decision. Our fundamental rule is advisory, and we advise government strongly that based on our history, based on what we already know, the experiences from those countries, we will advise government against a park or an agreement of a park that will likely take a huge number of Gambian young people to elsewhere for few reasons. One, the previous experiences that we are aware, majority had not been positive. Others have returned. So using that lesson, we will not advise government on that. Secondly, in our recent past, Gambia has witnessed a mass exodus of our young people from this country. Going to European countries, going to other African countries, going to Asian countries. It should be the prerogative of government to devise strategies to develop and build the capacities of the remaining young people in this country. Because the government need that energy, government need that intellect to transform our economy and to develop this country to the new Gambia we want. So any attempt to formally export a large number of young Gambians outside this country will have significant negative effect on our economy and elsewhere. Despite there may be other positive in terms of when we start talking about foreign exchange and all that stuff, but those are going to be
very minimal, I believe,
compared to the negative that we have experienced already. So that's our reason why we advise government against any such park.
Yeah, and then Lamin, I know the National Youth Council and Youth Empowerment Project, you have a very, very close relationship, and I don't need to justify to anybody that the Tukifi Wala Tekifi issue has been going on, the campaign has been going on.
Sure.
So personally, okay, let's put personally out of it, but for young people, they believe that the Tukifi Wala Tekifi campaign is not meaningful at some point if the government is about to take 1,000 young people outside the country, that is what these young people feel, because the slogan is Tukifi Wala Tekifi, meaning you stay in the Gambia and then you make it right here in the Gambia. So how do you see those that particular campaign and the requests by government to transport 1,000 young people to Saudi Arabia?
We are definitely at the center of Tekifi, and government is at the center of Tekifi.
Okay.
Government is leading to tell young people Tekifi, because we ask young people the choice. Tuki Wala Tekifi, and they are all saying Tekifi. We are hopeful that we all Tekifi and work together, hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder, to build this country. Like I said before, as initially reported as signed, nothing has been signed. Also clarify that it was a request. Now that request, how it is reported here in the Gambia and how it was picked, for me that's where the confusion lies. But I can report that from our engagement with government, these are clarities we seek, and we had also offer advice.
I'm so happy, Lamin, that you talked about the reporting aspect, because I'm a journalist, and sometimes journalists, the way we report things, sometimes it's another issue compared to the actual activity. But then I believe they will also make the clarification, and Honorable Ahmad Ba has been saying it over and over again that it's a request for now, and they will do it in relation to the benefits of Gambian young people. And I just hope they will focus on that.
I must say again that the concern that the public raise, as far as I'm concerned, is a genuine concern.
Exactly.
It's a genuine concern, because in my local dialect we will say ko nimfewule bafa hanetungoje ka borile. So we have seen, if something red kill your mom, even if you see a red flag, you will run away.
Obviously.
Obviously. So we have seen, you know, we have had. Currently, I have close to 50 to 60 young ladies and boys who had one time been either trafficked or deceived.
Yeah,
and was
I actually hosted. Yeah, I hosted them here.
I am working with them. You know, I am supporting them to see how best we could definitely provide more information to other young ladies, but also to see how best we could have better reintegration programs.
Yeah.
So I must say that, and what we are doing is government doing this. So I am very sure that its government cannot do a technique of depletion, build here, destroy this part, and continue to build again. I'm not sure that's going to be cost effective. So the most ideal thing is, like I said, Aman may have a good intention, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it's supposed to be something everybody just need to accept.
Yeah.
The democracy demand that we also send our opinion, and when our opinion matter to him, definitely that could be considered. And that's why on behalf of young people, we had advice.
Exactly. And then you spoke about those young people who were trafficked to Lebanon, Kuwait, and the list goes on. I hosted them here. We had a good conversation. And I believe young people watched that particular conversation, and they told me, Jainaba, we are not going to these Arab countries because of this and this and this. So I feel that just that conversation that I had with these young people is a clear justification that these Arab countries are, of course, something else, you know. We are not saying that every young people that travels there suffers, but that is what we know, and that is what we will take, because that is what is available. When these young people came here, that is exactly what they told me. So I won't allow young people to go there, because when they came here, that was the thing that they actually told me. They suffered. Some people were operated, and the list goes on. So I guess this is something that we have to look at over and over again, because this is it's a living source.
So quickly also to say, as part of our engagement as a council, we don't actually say maybe Arab countries or European countries or Asian countries.
Yeah.
Our position is that trafficking in all its form, regardless of the destination, is bad.
Exactly.
One, two, Again, even if government want to export 1,000 young people to, let's say, another country that is not Saudi Arabia, at this time, you know, of our transition, we don't think it's just a wise idea as at this time. So we thought it's essential that there's clarity, even if those people are supposed to go, what actually they are going to do, what direct benefit on themselves, but also on the economy, and we will be able to balance this.
Yeah.
But the reality is we want to assure people that there has not been any contract signed so far, and of course the government will continue to reconcile some of the issues raised and our concerns in this.
Okay, perfect. I guess relationship between National Youth Council and the government, it's quite clear. Chairman and director made it quite clear. So let's go to the NACOF. The NACOF, it's one activity that is, I believe, I can say, I stand to be corrected, the biggest activity for the National Youth Council. And then, yes, Chairman, this question goes to you. Let's talk about some of the impacts that the NACOF has registered to warrant a continuation of this particular activity.
Thank you so much, Jainaba. I think NACOF has really produced a lot for this country. You know, during the 22 years of the Jammeh administration, NACOF had been the only avenue, the only platform where all political parties, young people in all political parties participate and take part in discussions and take part in activities geared towards empowering young people. Despite the difficulties in those days, you know, we stood by our feet to ensure that we give equal rights and opportunities to every young person in this country, regardless of your party affiliation. And not only that, you go to any region that hosted NACOF, you will find 1 or 2 or 3 things that has been done in that region as a result of NACOF.
Yeah, actually, thank you for talking about that, because I was going to ask you that. Somebody told me, Jainaba, the communities that host the NACOF normally, what is left for them to remember that this particular community hosted NACOF? That is a very important part.
That's happened. Today you go to Brekama, the lighting system at the Box Bar football field was put there by NACOF.
Impressive.
And today, up to date, they're using it at times when they want to have night trainings or night programs at Box Bar.
Okay.
It was 2006 when West Coast Region hosted NACOF, and those lighting systems were fixed. You go to North Bank region in 2008, their youth center, the only youth center, was renovated. It was in use up to close to maybe 1 or 2 years back. That was the time when it started dilapidating. But we did not stop at that. Today we have convinced YEP to invest in that center and bring that center to become a standard center. You go to LRR, their mini stadium. Go to Basse. Today you go to that primary school. When we were going there, it was only 1 or 2, 3, 4 classrooms that have lights.
And through the NACOF?
Through the NACOF, we have almost wired the entire school and put electricity in the entire school.
Perfect.
You go to Nasir, that's the senior secondary school. So NACOF, some people, what they feel to understand, or what some people have about NACOF, they have to understand. NACOF is not a program that National Youth Council wants to do all the time, but it is a law. The National Youth Council Act 2000 says it is National Youth Council's mandate to organize every 2 years a National Youth Conference and festivals. Then it is not a will, it is a law.
Yeah. Okay.
And many people don't understand that NACOF is a law.
Okay.
So I think that's what people have to understand. Unless those laws are changed, you know, we will have to go to NACOF. And those are some of the physical developments that we've seen in some of the areas. But you look at the capacities of people. I think I remember in URR, just this last NACONF, there were a lot of talks surrounding NACONF, what has NACONF done, what has NACONF did here, what have NACONF done here. But we got a person who stood at that gathering, who today is a very important person in this country. He said, whoever stands and says NACONF is a West does not know NACONF and has not gone through NACONF. I am today what I am as a result of NACONF.
Okay.
So we are not only concentrating on physical development, but there are other developments that people might not see physically, but that is the capacity of the young people.
Okay. Yes, because Chairman, I have some particular young people putting criticisms on the table in relation to the NACONF, that it's a waste of time. You know, some people say that the recommendations that are given at the NACONF by these young people are not implemented. How's that?
You know, development is a process. But I can assure you that some of the recommendations from NACONF, in fact, the establishment of the National Youth Council came as a result of resolutions from the first ever, during the Jammeh administration, the last youth conference and festival. I don't know whether they call it Youth Week at that time, in 1999.
Okay, that's
when young people made a call through their resolutions to the government that they need a council. And the National Youth Council bill was drafted and was sent to the National Assembly.
That actually led to the National Youth Council.
Led to the formation of the National Youth Council. Okay. And not only that, it was in 2008 in Farafenni when young people threw a resolution called on government to have youth representatives at the National Assembly and also at the local councils. Okay. The president honored at that time. He said he will honor the request made by the young people, but we will not determine for him the person whom he is going to identify to represent the young people. But he had to be called.
Okay.
And the list goes on. You know, we said today you go to each of the councils within the Gambia. There was one of the NACONF resolutions that said 5% of their development budget be allocated to youth development. Go across the entire Gambia. Any council that you go to, any youth, our regional youth structures that are there, and youth organizations that are active in those regions are fully supported by the area councils.
Okay, Chairman, I believe that is quite important. You just made everything clear in relation to that. I know the young people will start thinking otherwise about the NACONF starting from now on. Yes, Chairman, I know these young people have something on the table that is NACONF villas. I know it's a bit ambitious. Somebody told me that today when I was coming. He's like, okay, I'm so happy you're hosting the National Youth Council because this has been something that I wanted to put forward. So this is my opportunity. So that particular person said they want NACONF villas in areas that communities that you host for this NACONF, so that when the NACONF is over, they can use these particular villas as youth centers, and the list goes on to have employment. So I thought, okay, when chairman and executive director comes, I will give them this recommendation. Maybe anything can happen. They can work towards implementing it. They can have donors, and the list goes on. They can put it into consideration. So executive director, this is actually, it might be ambitious, but somebody feels this way.
I must say that this has even been a NACONF resolution.
Okay.
That to even have NACONF villas.
Okay.
I'm sure this is not the first time we have been confronted or been confronted with such a question. The relevance of NACONF, why do we even have NACONF? NACONF is a waste of time, waste of resources, resolutions are not implemented, and all that stuff. But as a public officer, it's my responsibility to listen to those criticisms and adjust to see how I meet those expectations. But first thing first, will everybody agree that there should be NACONF? No. We cannot have everybody to agree. So that expectation I have established that not everybody will agree. 1, 2, If there was no NECOM, no national convergence, trust me, young people will demand that we need to have a national convergence. If it doesn't exist. So we are in that human beings are that cycle. When it does not exist, we demand. When it happens, we criticize. But that criticism should not break you to leave that. It should only help you to build on that and make it better and perfect. I understand their frustrations. And that's why we are there, to listen to these frustrations and see how we work with them to address these issues. I take a critical example. We have a lot of young Africans who thought that AU meetings are useless. Why should AU leaders even meet? Who believe that ECOWAS head of state meeting is useless. Why will they even meet? During the impasse, when economic was coming, I was telling this guy, I said, you told me ECOWAS meetings are useless. Now the ECOWAS people are the ones sending this military here. Is it still useless? They said, no, now they are useful. I said,
I know, but the meetings are needed.
I said, so it is out of those meetings that they hold that create a common platform for people to exchange ideas, countries to exchange ideas, to agree on a common purpose, so that one country don't use their might to suppress the other. So that even if you're a smaller country, you have an opportunity to express your opinion and claim your space. So that when there are crises in one country, you can use the collective power to address them. It may not always be crisis in your house, but they are always addressing crisis in somebody else's house. So we don't have to see some of these platforms just in a mere sense that how does it directly just affect me. But we need to see it how, in a general term, how does it create a platform for people to air out their concerns, bring out their opinions, meet with other young people, and be able to contribute their part. You and General Assembly, how many resolutions are made? Are they all implemented? Does that still mean no General Assembly should hold? AU meetings, how many are done? Does that still mean there should not be any ECOWAS meeting? But beyond that, the President had addressed the National Assembly. National Assembly had made laws of this country. How many laws are implemented? Does that mean we should call a state off? We should call that there's no government or no National Assembly? No. We are in that, we are that progressive beings. Sometimes there are laws that even are lying down there dormant. Nobody even, but when a similar crime is committed, then they refresh and refer you. In fact, sometimes there are colonial laws. That's the time they wake up. Now the opportunity we have, that we have, other countries are struggling to have a youth convergence. We have it. Collectively as young people, instead of criticizing negatively, we should positively criticize and bring suggestions as to how do we make NECOP better. Because NECOP is a platform for us. We meet there and say, we demand government do this, we demand government do this, we demand government do this.
That's the part that they are concerned about. We demand government to do this, we demand government to do, we give recommendations, but the implementation process. If
government did not do, does that mean we fail in our responsibilities as young people to call on people we put into office? We should cross it ourselves on the foot. If government failed to honor your request, does that mean that you should not make any request again? That's the question. My understanding is we should all collectively go. Young people in the media should have used NECOP resolution and call the minister responsible and say, you, the Minister of Agriculture, young people demand this in 2014, that this should be done. Why don't you do this? Young people in the should call the Minister of Information. Young people demanded, we demanded that year. Why is this not done?
So if I may ask, to be quite honest, I have to be honest with myself. I don't know much about this NECOP because I've never attended any of them. Just to say, do you have reports?
There are reports and there are resolutions. Every NECOP committee resolution.
Paper.
Yes.
Okay, and sent to the Ministry of Youth and Sport, am I right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this happened. I can tell you, the previous NECOMs, they are not only sent to, let's say, to the ministry, but they are even tabled at cabinet, the resolutions. We made legitimate claims that we think should make our conditions better.
Okay,
that's what
so far,
people did.
From the last NECOP that happened, so far have any of those resolutions or recommendations been implemented? I just want to be sure and to give clarification to young people.
When we arrived at the last NECOP, we gather young people to make a critical assessment, to also invite the new government. And this is what we want. There has been some genuine concern that come from government to say, look, sometimes your resolutions are very ambitious, without putting into context some of the resources, but also the limitations, one. They also claim that sometimes these resolutions are not even aligned to the national development priorities. We just make claims that we want this and this. And they think that should stop. We should also start thinking programmatically and align it to national development priorities. Because that's where investment could be channeled. So what happened? Right after the NECON, National Youth Council was tasked to ensure that we transform this NECON resolutions to Gambia Country Program of Action on Youth.
Gambia Country Program of Action on Youth.
And we had commissioned a consultancy, which has been done, and this GPA, Gambia Country Program of Action on Youth, has been developed, and this Country Program of Action on Youth will be validated. We have validated it, we'll be launching it, and we are using this. It has been aligned to the NDP, it has been aligned to the AU roadmap on demographic dividend and the sustainable development goals. So as to ensure that we are able to, development partners and government could channel investment, that when we support this activity of young people, it's directly helping us attain this goal we set for ourselves at the NDP. So there is resource channeling, which they said has been an obstacle. So we have the GPA, we will be launching very soon, and now we hope that subsequent NECONs will not be bringing of even new resolutions kind of. We have the basis, which are into about 8 thematic. Now we are going to look at this to see what has we achieved, where have we stopped, and how do we make this Gambia Country Program of Active more robust. Then that is going to now be a working progressive document that will just be adjusted at every NECON to look at progress made, and reports will be generated on progress implemented on Gambia Country Program on youth. So which means we had strategically moved from isolated NECON resolution generation to a comprehensive program approach where there'll be progress monitoring, but also in terms of progress on
I believe that is quite clear, and I'm as well excited. I'm waiting keenly for next NECON because it's going to be my first one, so I'm waiting for it. I'm excited. At least I'll be there to report these things, and I'll see all of these things that you're saying for myself, so that I can come back here and of course talk about it. Due to time constraints, I just have one last question for you, Chairman, in relation to rural youth. The National Youth Council, what have you been doing for rural youth? Apart from trainings, what else do you offer them?
I think
because sometimes they feel left out and the list goes on.
I think that might be with other institutions, but for NYC, we don't discriminate. We treat everybody as a young person in the Gambia. We don't care whether you are from URR or you are from North Bank or you are from West Coast region or you are from Banjul. Here at National Youth Council is equal right for all. Whatever a young person in KMC enjoys, in our programs, in our programming as National Youth Council, whatever a young person in KMC enjoys, that's the same thing that a young person in URR will enjoy. That's why normally when we are organizing programs or we are organizing trainings or we have maybe international traveling package or whatsoever, we distribute. Just when I was going to attend the Commonwealth Youth Forum, the person that that was identified to be part of that was from the rural, from North Bank region. And you have within the Greater Banjul area, you have a lot of young people who have access to some of those things, not through NYC, but they're exposed to it.
Exactly.
So that's why
I'm a bit concerned. How you guys support
normally
them.
Some of those opportunities does not come through National Youth Council,
but online applications and
online applications, and some of them have their own organizations that they work with at their various communities or whatsoever. And for that of the National Youth Council, wherever you are, when opportunities are available, we give it to you.
Okay, so there's a distribution of opportunities.
That's the distribution, because we have a council.
Okay.
And that council is has 7 elected chairpersons. And these elected chairpersons came from the 7 administrative regions of this country.
Yeah.
So that is the council that sits. And the executive director sits at the management, heads the management to ensure that they work on day-to-day affairs of the council.
Okay.
So whatever decision that we made, we just don't sit, Lamin will not just sit in his office and say, okay, I am identifying Mr. So or Jainaba to go for this,
okay.
or I'm identifying
There's
this.
a process.
He gets to the council.
Okay.
Especially currently, we have a council. We have a page, a group on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Whatever issue that we have, we discuss it there, agreed on it,
and
that's
the decision
There's
no hand picking, and
the decision is taken by the administration.
Okay.
So that's why council. That's why you go to even the last village, the last community, the last house in the last village in this country, National Youth Council is active and vibrant.
Okay.
Because of the way we distribute our opportunities, because of the way we respond to the needs of these young people, regardless of where you live.
Okay, perfect. Chairman, due to time constraints, we are almost done here. You can just give me your final words and then we can close.
Anyway, one thing, my final words will be, I still call on the young people of the Gambia to understand that this is their council. Whatever they felt we are not doing in the right way, it is important for them to get to us so that we will all together be able to correct things and make this council a better council for all of us, representing the voice of the people of the young people of this country. And we must all work together. We must all try to ensure that we mobilize the energy, that is the youthful energy towards national development. The development of this country will not be possible if we young people are not ready to take the development, in our own hands to ensure that the Gambia that we want to deliver will be achieved at the end of the day.
Exactly, yes. Lamin, final words before we leave. And thumbs up, because the last time I hosted the Youth Inter-Party Committee and they told me that the National Youth Council have been supportive to them one way or the other.
We established it.
That, yes, stand to be called, you
say
established.
That we organized the first Inter-Party Youth Forum here on Peace before the local government council election. We had gone around across the country to get young people, all parties or political parties across the country to discuss peace.
APRC,
and we have
PPP,
also
and
organized boot camps, train them on use of social media and also prepare them for leadership. I must say sincerely that our work as a council is fully decentralized. Today we have a lot of young people across the country. You go to Bansang Youth Center, for example. We have a youth center in Bansang, and it's developing most needed social services to the community. They have a computer lab, they have other sporting facilities, and they are also doing other training. Recently, we just launched our rural digital lab there to train young people on ICT with other partners. You go to Pakalinding, the same thing. We have our youth center that is providing different services to young people. It has indoor games, sporting facilities, and it also have other conferencing facilities. And of course, we do a lot of engineering.
Yeah, Lamin, sorry, last question. I said that was the last, but I have another one. So the last time I visited Janjanbureh, I did a story on the Janjanbureh Youth Center in relation to the fact that the Janjanbureh Area Council is controlling it, not the young people. So I did that story, and I'm supposed to do a follow-up on that. But then how is it going so far? Any information in relation to that?
It's resolved. It's now finally going to be handed over to the young people.
Okay, final words.
That's basically one of our responsibilities.
Okay, perfect. Final words. Final
words,
Lamin.
I would say that we are excited to be here, and we look forward to working with all of you to share the much needed information with young people, but also to make our voices heard at policy, operations, but also in the communities.
Yes.
And today, than ever before, there is need to call on each and every one of us to cherish, to promote, and support peace-building processes in the country. We are better together. We can definitely have a better country. We can all live together, and this is the place we can all call home. So it's one Gambia for everybody.
Lamin, thank you. I said you were going to declare you dial open because you didn't do it formally. We did not do the formal opening, and Lamin Dabo, that is your responsibility. You should have been here to do that, but As long as you're here, you have to do it.
So thank you very much. I want to use this opportunity from the bottom of my heart to officially declare the Youth Dialogue at QTV officially open. And I wish each and every one of us good luck and all the best in our engagement at the dialogue. Let the dialogue continue. Let the dialogue
continue. Thank you so much, Lamin and Dembo, for coming. Viewers, this is all we have for you in this edition of the Youth Dialogue. But I will, of course, say that this outfit is provided for me by Rogis Creation. I like it. It's so comfortable. Just go there. She's in Banjul. She's very young. She's she's a young entrepreneur. Go there. She will exactly. She will provide an outfit as nice as this, or even better. The numbers are right in front. Take it, call her, and then she will make an outfit for you. QTV, we are on social media, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we are on Instagram. Follow us or like us to know what is happening. Till I come your way next week, inshallah, stay tuned.